Neon lights, palm trees, a cassette tape, and sunset melting into an endless highway. If you close your eyes and try to picture the most 80s thing you can imagine, well, there you go. That's basically the entire pitch for today's game. This is Retrowave 2. And yeah, we need to talk about it because for such a tiny Steam racer, it's got a story that's a lot bigger and weirder than you'd expect. So here's the deal. Retrowave 2 comes from a small studio called RewindApp, and it first showed up in Steam Early Access back in December 2024. Think about that. This game simmered there for almost 2 full years before its official launch in August 2026. For indie games, that's practically an eternity. And for context, it's enough time for 80s nostalgia to cycle back around and get nostalgic for itself. If you're new here, and honestly most people are, Retrowave 2 is the sequel to a game that, to put it gently, had a certain reputation. The first Retrowave got some pretty harsh criticism. People called it an asset flip built on a pre-made Unity racing template, and said barely anything had been changed except the neon paint and the synthwave soundtrack. Some players even joked the bloom was so ridiculous you couldn't actually see the other cars, which in a racing game is less than ideal. So yeah, the pressure was on for Retrowave 2 to prove it was an actual sequel, not just a fresh coat of neon. And credit where it's due, RewindUpp did try. This time around, you're not getting instant failed by a single fender bender. There's an actual health bar now, so clipping a guardrail doesn't end your run in half a second. That alone is a real quality of life win for the series. And honestly, for a budget indie, the entire package looks pretty good on paper. Over 15 cars to unlock and upgrade, more than 18 neon-soaked maps, 4 game modes, and more than 50 original synthwave tracks to keep your ears busy while you drift through what is basically someone's Kavinsky dreamscape. The game's Steam Deck verified too, so you can keep those synthy vibes going on the couch or wherever. Then there's the price, around €5. That's maybe less than your last coffee order. For that, you get a game that, whether you love it or not, is absolutely obsessed with its aesthetic. But here's where it gets interesting. The community reaction is all over the place, and that's kind of the most fascinating thing about this game. Overall, Retrowave 2 sits at very positive on Steam, with about 89% of almost 400 reviews saying thumbs up. Decent. But if you zoom in on the last 30 days, that drops to around 70%. Some things shifted, and once you start reading the reviews, it's easy to see why. The fans who love it really love it. They say it's the perfect game to throw on, zone out, and just vibe. Hop on your Steam Deck, cruise under neon lights, unlock a couple of cars, and repeat. It's not trying to be a hardcore sim racer, and that's a good thing for a lot of people. But then you've got the other side, folks who've been around since the first game, and they're not all convinced. Some say Retrowave 2 isn't even an improvement. Complaints range from the handling feeling stiffer to fewer customization options, to backgrounds that are apparently just flat images instead of real 3D environments. And yeah, if you're making a sequel, hearing the first one did this better is pretty rough. So where are we now in 2026? Retrowave 2 is a weird little case study. It proves that a cheap, neon-drenched racer absolutely can find its people. The numbers don't lie, and players are having fun here. But it also proves you can't just slap a 2 on the end and expect everyone to cheer. Some things got better, like the health bar. Other pieces, like variety, it's more polish, while the atmosphere just sort of shuffled sideways instead of forward. If you just want a chill, low-pressure arcade racer with a killer synthwave playlist, Retrowave 2 will probably hit the spot. For the price of a sandwich, it's tough to argue with. But if you're hoping for some massive leap over the original, you might walk away feeling like this road just got a fresh neon paint job, but the car underneath is pretty much the same as before. That's Retrowave 2, still cruising out of early access, still pumping out synthwave, and still proving that, yeah, sometimes the games that split the internet right down the middle are actually the ones with the most charm. That's all for now. Let me know in the comments if you've played Retrowave 2, because honestly, the back and forth over this game is almost more fun than the game itself. See you next time, and thanks for watching.